Welcome back, Wolfpack, to another electrifying episode of the Wolf Den Podcast. I'm your host, Jake Pintz. This is CEO Vladimir Monchenko and President Luka Bozic. We got a couple updates per usual, so we'll go through those quickly. First one, Colin Larson took his journeyman's test today. Good luck to you, brother. Hopefully we can get that passed and get you on the roster as a journeyman running your own crew. We're super excited for that. Second thing, we got our company-wide banquet this Friday, which we're all super excited for. There'll be awards, dinners, speeches, drinks, dance floors. It should be an awesome night. So please come out if you can. We sent out those invites. We'd love to see everybody there. And last update's just about this weather we're having. Next week, mid-January, getting to the end of January, and we got 45 degrees and sunny. Now, that's pretty good, too. So we'll take that. This is the best winter Wolf River has gone through in the solar season. It's been awesome so far. But those are the updates we got. We'll jump right into it. I mean, today we're kind of talking about, the vision that Wolf River has seen in the past, the current vision, the vision we have for the future of the company. And we think it's super important that we talk about stuff like that for people that have been here and might not necessarily know, or new people that have joined the company that doesn't kind of know where we started and where we see things kind of going. So we'll kind of jump right into it. Wolf River's been around for 7-8 years now, and we started off by doing LED lighting. How did you guys get into that?
So LED lighting was the root start, and I think it talks about the identity of the company as a whole. Obviously, running a company, we want to be able to offer something to the consumer that makes sense not only from the environmental perspective, but also from the savings perspective. It's a desirable item, as we saw it, that also paid for itself. And so that was the thought with LED lighting. We started as a distributor originally. We were not installing LED lights, but we're helping to save people money and doing the savings calculations, lighting analysis, and layout analysis to help brighten up the future. And that was the thought behind it.
Okay, very nice. I mean, that's related to solar in a way. I mean, it's not as powerful, but it's a good stepping stone. How'd you guys find jobs or get into the whole lighting atmosphere? Like, I remember going to jobs with you guys, and we were doing anything from a Walmart to a Seco, union company. How'd you guys get into that? How'd you guys find those jobs?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as a new company, we took every project that we could find,
right.
but it was a lot of outbound phone calls and a lot of door knocking, and we were blessed with some of the amazing sales teams that we've had back then, and some of them are still with us. I did everything we could.
Yeah. One of those sales guys, Seth Damon, he's actually the one that got me the job here. And when I started, I just remember, talking to Justin. He gave me the job, and then he's like, "Can you come meet me at 11 p.m. at Walmart?" Sure enough, I show up. You guys are there, and it's one of those lighting jobs where you get locked in all night and you convert all the fluorescents into LEDs, and that was my first experience with good old Wolf River, which was awesome. And that was I know nothing about electrical and got into that, and then a short time later, 1 or 2 years later, we got into solar, which has been the bread and butter. Can you guys tell me a little bit how you guys got into solar and what kind of brought you to that aspect of electrical?
Yeah, I think obviously solar is the future, and we wanted to stay ahead of the curve and be the experts in basically the future. But it was very relatable to solar, right? Or to lighting. It pays for itself. It's the future, and early adopters get to benefit from various rebates and discounts. So it makes sense because from the way that we see it, from the consumer perspective, we appeal not only to the desire of customer having solar, but we also can justify it logically why it makes sense. So.
Yeah, and it always blew my mind because when we went from lighting to solar, we were still a minuscule company. There wasn't that many members. And I just remember seeing the difference of process it is to get a solar system going and all the paperwork and all the different ins and outs of how to make it work. Can you tell me about the process of you guys learning how to get these solar systems sold, properly permitted, pushed through the system? What kind of learning curve is that?
Yeah, a lot of that was try and fail.
Yeah.
We had to learn everything from scratch, and that took a lot of emails and phone calls to the utility, and learning from others. I mean, we weren't the first in the state to offer solar products, so we kind of looked at the past and what other companies were doing, and kind of learned from them as well. So.
Okay.
And then, yeah, with the installations as well, the first electrician that was hired on team had 10 years of solar experience from the states that were doing solar way before Minnesota. Some of us, as you know, were in field with the electrician to learn. We were on the first solar projects together, actually.
Thank God it was in January too.
And thank God it was January, and thank God it was as nice as this January.
Yeah, right.
Besides just 30 degrees colder.
Yeah.
But yeah, what Vlad said.
So it started off with the lights. We saw how that kind of, transitions into solar in some sort of way. It's good for the environment. It's a industry that is, up and coming, and we pounced on it pretty quickly. And now solar is the bread and butter of Wolf River Electric, and it was a quick transition, and, we're doing stuff in 4 or 5 years that other companies haven't been able to do in 20 years in business, And I think it's really important because that comes down to leadership, how much you're pushing your company, how you're pushing your company, and how you want to see the company grow and come into fruition. So we kind of talked about the past vision. Now we're in this super sweet spot of, being a renowned solar company that's doing things well, doing things right. What's your vision right now with the company?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the vision is to establish ourselves as the leader in the renewable market in Midwest and continue to gain trust of our customers, do good work, and stay ahead of the curve. Solar is a big investment, and customers must trust us, must trust in our recommendations, and we only seek to improve on those and help people save money and go solar.
Right. So. Well, we just partnered up with SunPower in the last 6 to 8 months, which they're a national company. They're renowned, and they have some of the best panels that, the market offers. And we are SunPower's second largest ID installer. First off, what is an ID installer?
Yeah, ID installer, so SunPower has various levels of partners, levels of companies that work with SunPower. But the way that SunPower defines it, they basically branch them into 2 main categories, installing or non-installing. So non-installing would be a dealer that sells SunPower product, but then they rely on other installers to install the actual system. We are an installing dealer, which means that we not only sell the product, but we also install it.
Okay, so we kind of do both.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea of how many companies kind of balance both, or is that kind of heard of, not heard of? Are we doing something that's kind of an anomaly here? Or?
Yeah, I mean, SunPower is the biggest, one of the biggest names in the solar industry. I mean, obviously, us partnering with them was a strategic move.
Yeah.
The way that we see it is you get a local trusted company that's here, that does quality work, compounded with the reputation that SunPower has as the national name and conglomerate in the solar industry. It's a competitive advantage compared to other installers that might also do good work, but they don't have such large company backing them up. So, yeah, I mean.
So another cool thing that I noticed is, okay, so we are named the second largest ID installer for SunPower, which is a national company. So that's a pretty damn big deal. But we've only been installing for them for 6 to 8 months. And we had to learn their product, learn their process, have the guys in the field understand how to install these systems, our salespeople how to sell them, so on and so forth. That's a pretty big deal. What do you guys feel about that? I mean, that shows that we have something special here, right? I mean, that there's other companies that partner with SunPower but don't get this kind of traction, or don't see this type of success. And I think that just kind of stems back to the way that leadership runs, how you guys push people, the kind of teams we have set in place. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think that just speaks to the quality and the talent that we have in this company. It's not so much management, even though we do have some amazing people in management positions, but it's also our field and everybody who works here. We're very proud of our talent and all of our staff, and I think that just speaks to the quality of the team that we have. We're very adaptable. We've installed various solutions. We've never were able to offer SunPower just because of their premium price, but we always wanted to. And with this partnership, obviously, we were finally able to offer a SunPower price at the same price that competitors are offering other products. And our team once again adapted and learned a new product, and they did amazing job, and I think it just speaks to the high quality of our talent.
And also with the salespeople needed to adapt as well. With selling different product, pitching it to customers, something different that we did not do before. So just to see it happening within just such a short period of time, plus the installations, what Vlad was saying, just picking up so quickly because of the talent that we have, it's phenomenal to see.
I think if anything, it helped our sales teams because now they were selling premium for
it did,
base
it
price.
did.
So
Yep.
Yeah, and I know back, when we were first starting solar and even doing lightings jobs, we were always looking for the best roster of guys too. And we've been working really hard on getting a good team together for infield installers, for sales teams, for management teams. And I think that finally has happened, and we got such a good crew together in each different area of the company. And that's something we pushed. It took a long time. It really did. It's hard to find good quality guys that want to be here, that want to do well by the customer.
And then as a company, to be able to keep them together, to meet everyone's necessities, whatever they need, desires, so that was tough too. But I think that now we are at the really good sweet spot. We're not relaxing, sitting back and relaxing,
I don't know if we ever will, but
yeah.
Well, I mean, it's because of the roster of guys and the team that we have that we chose to start expanding into other states. We started with Wisconsin, then Iowa, and now we got North and South Dakota. What was your guys' ideology with those moves, branching out to these different states?
Yeah, I think the demand in solar in Midwest is unfulfilled right now. There is more demand than there's possible knowledgeable installers out there. So it only makes sense to start offering our services in those areas. But we probably did it differently than you might see other national companies doing it, because other national companies just want to expand and grow as fast as they possibly could. And it does go wrong for a lot of companies out there. They expand, they overstretch themselves. And,
as we've seen and learned from.
And you see that every day almost, especially in the solar industry. And so they overstretch themselves and overcommit, get short on cash, and end up filing bankruptcy. We did it differently, where we looked at the skill talent that we have, and a lot of our journeymen already had licenses in other states, and were living close to those borders, and it only made sense to expand to those states because we already had a footprint there through our skilled talent in the field. And from the operational perspective, it didn't cost us as much as it would cost a national company to do so.
Okay. Yeah, it's been very interesting moving into these other states. Like you said, we have guys on the border that kind of bleed over. Some of these licenses are reciprocated by the state or by the eyes of the electrical community in the states, which has helped out, because then those guys can start off, the operations over in those other states, train in new hires that actually live in the states, and then they kind of take over. But the way that we've done it was strategic, to the point that, we weren't going to oversell past what we can install. And we just did it in such a good, smooth way, which was awesome to see. And I think that's also why we are, seen as one of the largest residential solar installers in the Midwest, which has happened in 4 to 5 years, which is pretty crazy. Did you guys see something like that happening, or is this kind of a shock to you guys as well?
No, I think it's always a shock. Obviously, we just stuck to what we do best, and that's offer products and services and continue to scale. And now as we look behind, I mean, it all worked out.
Yeah, but when I moved from Colorado and started working with Justin and Vlad, I mean, selling the first Lightning deal was a shock. Because we were all in working for somebody Vlad was working at the meat processing factory. And so when we joined it, we joined our forces together and sold that first deal. That was a huge shock. And then throughout the years, got into solar. And now we're seeing some numbers. They're pretty good, ranked extremely high in Midwest. It is a shock, but we did put a lot of hard work in it, same like everybody in this company. So it's not only a shock, right?
Yeah.
It was kind of...
I feel like you guys are kind of numb to the victories at this point.
No,
I'm just joking.
No, but I can say that the whole Wolf River family deserved this.
Right.
And I think
this recognition.
I think it's more like, thank God it paid off.
Right.
It's. I mean, we're not numb to the victories. Obviously, it's a huge success, but at some point, it is for us like, oh my God, this is so much work, so much effort, and thank God it worked out.
Right.
Because if it didn't, we all would be struggling. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's beautiful. And Luca just kind of touched on it, selling all these different products. And I think this is another reason that Wolf River sees so much success in sales and installations, and we need the high quality guys. It's because we offer different renewable products with our solar systems as well. Can you guys talk and touch on some of the other stuff that we offer to our customers?
Yeah. So our base offering is obviously solar because it pays for itself and it's the right move. For a lot of different reasons, but at the same time as we are in the homes and at the table with the customer, we always get various requests, right? It's either I'm getting an electric vehicle, or I need a battery backup, or a generator backup, or any kind of backup, and we get a lot of those requests from the customers. So our offering continues to expand and kind of cover some of those other additional options.
Yeah, especially when people, I mean, solar is still new, and a lot of people, aren't too keen onto the subject yet. But a lot of people have kind of caught on to the ideologies of solar, and now there's all these different add-ons that people didn't necessarily know of before. Understand the benefits of it, and especially younger people that are getting these systems, or well-informed individuals, they understand that, okay, with this solar system, I can get a battery backup in case that the whole grid goes down and then I have power. Or, now that electrical vehicles are so popular, I want an EV charger in my garage, So, as the times move on, these items are becoming more and more necessary for the customers, or demanded. And for us to be able to offer them, properly install them, is just another benefit of probably why we're one of the best in the Midwest.
Yeah, I think it's funny that you bring up batteries, because a lot of people, there's a misconcept, right? Everybody thinks, you'll get solar system installed and you'll automatically have a backup, right? You'll be able to power your home even during grid outages, but that's actually not how it works. Solar must shut off if there is a grid outage, not to put in danger any linemen that might be repairing the utility grid. But as a whole, like, solar is so policy-driven market, right? It's not so much how many sun hours you receive in any state or territory, but rather how favorable is the policy towards solar. I mean, we've seen that in California market, where with the implementation of new net metering policies, their installations and demand for solar have dropped significantly, where here in Midwest we do have a lot of favorable policies that continue to grow and drive the renewable market, and that's why solar makes sense, right? You put the solar panels and they generate electricity that you can then net meter with the utility, and you don't need batteries, right?
Right.
Batteries not necessarily save you money unless you have some specialty tariffs with the utility.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing the differences from state to state, and what all the stuff you got to keep up with utilities, it's amazing stuff. So the Midwest is favorable, which is nice, So Wolf River Electric, I mean, we are SunPower national conglomerate, second largest ID installer. We're into 5 states now, and we're considered one of the largest residential solar companies in the Midwest. Where do you guys see us going in the future? Are we going to expand into other states? What are you guys' thoughts behind that?
Yeah, I think we never set a goal to expand to many states on a annual basis. I think our main focus and trajectory is always to stay at full employment, right? Want to make sure that all of our guys are always busy and that we remain a trusted brand. And I think once you have both of those fulfilled, the growth just comes naturally. So, if we end up in the 3 new states this year, great, but that's not our main focus. Our main focus is to keep everybody busy and keep our customers happy.
Right. And make sure that we're, holding that foundation that we hold so close to our chest. What makes us successful, because like we spoke upon earlier, quick expansion for the almighty quick dollar can lead to, self-implosion, which is obviously not something we want to do, as we want to maintain one of the big names out there. Another question that I get asked personally, and I'm sure you guys get asked too, going public as a company. I mean, that's got to be in the future hopes and wishes, right? What are you guys' thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think that's just exciting. We constantly get a lot of questions from our staff or even outside partners whether they can purchase an equity in the company. And I think going public will allow that, exactly that, but it also unlocks additional doors to growth, right? From various perspectives, from the trust perspective, from capital funding perspective. It creates easier access to funds, and we believe that going public eventually will help us to further propel our success in the markets that we operate and help us grow.
Yeah.
Something that we've really been hitting on the nose hard lately has been marketing. We've been going through a bunch of different marketing ventures, which marketing has always been a topic, but we're doing some really, really cool things. And we're getting on radio stations. We're putting up big billboards, electronic billboards across the state here. A lot of traction, a lot of people seeing those. We're talking to different sports teams that maybe team up with them for different variety of reasons. What are you guys seeing with this marketing venture? I mean, I know we want to have the community see us as a staple, residential solar installer. What are you guys' thoughts behind this big marketing campaign?
Yeah, I think just establishing ourselves as the trusted name and, like you said, a staple in our communities. And I think that's important. Solar is already desirable. We just the customers just must associate us as the name to go solar with. So.
Yeah, I mean, and it does start out with the marketing. Especially state by state aspect. Like right here, we just got on KFan, right? So we got 3 commercials a day, something like that?
I believe so.
I don't know the count exactly. I just know it's at least every morning during the KFan show. But yeah, it's a couple times through the day.
Right, and that's a big deal, especially to local Minnesota fans. But if you're from the Midwest, you got family in these different states, and that kind of stuff kind of bleeds over, especially when you have the electronic billboards spanned across the state. And then they go back home to Wisconsin, and they say, oh my goodness, they sell over here too. And it kind of just, oral tradition is a big part of it too. But just getting your name out there is so incredibly important. And if we do choose to go public or be a national company one day, marketing campaigns are one of the most important concepts of it,
Yeah, I think that speaks to gaining trust with customers, because if you think about a journey of anything that we purchase in our daily life, we generally don't purchase something that we see for the first time or a brand that we see for the first time. Generally, you see that brand several times before you kind of put your trust into that. And obviously referrals help, but it's how many times you've seen that brand. If they're everywhere, then they must be trusted.
Right.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about Wolf River too is, we do renewable energy, we do solar, but we're also building homes. And I think a lot of people don't know about that. So we built homes in Mankato, and we built homes in a couple other spots. I think we got 10, 15, 20 underneath our belt. So we do have this whole other aspect of Wolf River that I don't necessarily think that other people know. Can you guys talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think it's just once again, we look at the at our talent that we have in the room, and we kind of make the best out of it. We once we had the necessary licenses to do solar, part of that licenses did require building licenses, and when we took a look around the room and saw the talent that we have and the capabilities that we have. And, we have Rich, he's the vice president of the construction division. He had prior experience building homes, and we thought that that's a great idea to capitalize on his skills and his capabilities and dive into that market because obviously new homes are very needed. I believe we're still the supply is under the demand curve for the new construction homes, and I think eventually it's only a matter of time until homes come with solar systems and then the batteries. So,
and we've been in Mankato, as you said. We are trying to expand it a little bit closer to where our headquarters are, and we are actually bringing additional guy to help Rich, who has experience of who's actually a builder.
Okay.
Like I'm talking about like hands-on.
Yeah.
So we were trying to bring in some of that aspect instead of subcontracting out.
In-house.
To bring it in-house as well. So that's a little update exclusive
Well, that's
for
really
our Wolf River construction. We're super excited to expand that too. Maybe we'll soon start making them smart homes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to kind of get into that as the next topic too. I mean, we're talking about future vision here, and obviously you guys are always thinking in the future because that's why we are where we are today. Fully renewable homes and neighborhoods. That's something that you guys have put thought into. That's something that you don't necessarily see a lot, but something that will most definitely come up in the future. And that you guys want to be one of the first companies to do that, right? Have fully renewable home upgrades or just offer fully renewable homes at purchase. Or even full neighborhoods.
We could, especially when you said going public.
Yeah.
That would be one of the avenues that we could do. The first, I don't know if there's any in the state of Minnesota,
right.
like the smart neighborhood, but that would be cool.
Yeah, it's actually a very drastically underutilized idea.
Yeah.
Because if you think about solar and investing into solar, it's a large investment that generally requires some sort of financing. And when you finance a project like solar, you generally look at home improvement loans that generally have less favorable terms than, like, for example, your mortgage. But if you can actually include and finance the solar system inside your mortgage and just make it a part of your home like you would with your deck or your bathroom, then you actually save a lot, and you're going to spend the same money if you stay with utilities. So it only makes sense to make that investment right away during the construction. But I think it will just take time from the trust perspective, right? The builders that are building homes have to get comfortable with the solar to start offering that. And obviously the consumers have to gain farther understanding of solar and trust it to be able to make that investment before they even move into the home. Because right now the conversation is you're spending this much, we have a way of taking it, getting rid of your utility bill and replacing it, with the solar system. With new homes, you kind of don't have that utility bill to compare yet. So you're kind of making that decision ahead of time, planning ahead of time. So I think it's just a matter of time.
I think it's a matter of time too, because like we kind of touched on, the idea of solar is becoming more and more prominent in the minds of people, because as utility bills rise due to implementations from the government, going fully green by 2040, stuff like that. That's happening around the country, and that's forcing consumers into a tough spot sometimes. So I think that it's being driven that solar is the future. Solar is the way to save money, take care of your family, and be sustainable is being driven deeper and deeper into the minds of people. And I think that, even offering a fully renewable neighborhood or a green neighborhood would be an awesome thing to do, because who knows about solar? They will purchase. They will understand that this is a good deal and this is something that we want to do. It's even if you put solar on a house and then sell it, that house goes up in value because of the solar system on the roof. If people see that, oh, I can purchase this home that already has solar and not go through the hassle of getting installed, I might not know my utility bill yet, but they know it's going to be there, So I think that's a really cool idea, and especially Wolf River having the capacity of the construction side, the solar side, to throw something like that together. That's a powerful thing,
I just got solar actually.
Yeah.
My home.
Both of you guys got solar now.
Vlad got it about 6-7 months ago.
Yeah, a few months
and,
ago.
I love my solar. I actually often go on my deck and check it out.
Just look at it?
Yeah, it's so cool. I love my SunPower app.
Yeah.
I monitor it. It is great. I haven't seen my utility bill yet, but I'm really excited to check it out.
It is an exciting thing.
It is so cool.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna name the utility, but they already increased their prices this year that we've seen. So it is just a matter of time when my utility is going to follow
Right.
their steps and all the other utilities. So I know I made a good move, and everybody who bought solar.
Yeah. Just like everything else, matter of time before it all comes, I got one last topic, and since we're talking about the future of Wolf River, a company that grew this quickly, we had to adapt to a lot of different things, and one of those things we had to adapt to is how to maintain and retain a great group of people working for us, whether it's infield installers, office staff, management staff, and in the future we want to make sure that we have one of the best company cultures in the world, where people want to come work for us, and we attract good, hardworking people that share a common goal of just success and company value and customer basis. Were you guys seeing Wolf River for a cultural aspect within our employees, within the company? What do you guys see about that in the future?
Yeah, I think it has been growing as a culture. We see friend groups developing within the company that hang out outside of just the working hours. We also have some fun events planned, throughout this year, from volunteering events. We just had our first annual hockey game. I hope we keep that tradition going.
For sure.
So, I think the culture is just getting bigger, and that I think that's very important. We have a lot of employees that invite their friends to come work for us because they see advantages of being with Wolf River. It's a knowledge that you cannot get anywhere else, and most of our staff do get promoted and grow within the rankings of the company relatively quick, not only just from the financial compensation, but also from their skills and their licenses and other knowledge that they learn here. So.
Yeah, and as we're growing, even when we were a way smaller company, when we were dreaming of growing, everybody that was working for us at the time, we were saying, you will never become a number.
Right.
We will always be the same people. You will always be able to come to our office, to reach out every single one of us directly. And then we got, additional 80, 100 people in this company after we had that conversation. And I think that we did not change that.
Right.
That policy and that promise. We did not break our promise. And that was a big deal, because I know that the way that people in field or sell, I know we feel and see how they're treating us. So I think that we know that we did not break that promise.
Yeah. It's really cool, because I think people care about not status, but being seen in a company just as much as they care about their compensation. Nobody likes being a number or a cog in the machine. They want to make sure that, their voice matters. And if they're working their tail off, that, they do have some input and they are noticed. And that goes a long way because a lot of companies, people are a number of the machine. They don't get noticed. They clock in, they clock out. They might work really hard and never even get a good word or a pat on the back.
1-800 number. And
Yeah,
give it a try,
exactly, exactly. And we're up to almost 300 people in this company. I feel like everybody still feels noticed, utilized, heard. And there's a lot of companies. Almost every one of my peers or anybody else I talk to, that's not a normal culture within a company. It should be, but it's not. And I think we see that, and we want to make sure that that maintains no matter how big we get, whether it's, physical healthiness, mental healthiness, spiritual fulfillment, whatever it is. I mean, we are a revolving door open to ideas within work and, working habits and topics, but also outside of work too. I mean, we encourage all of our guys to come forth and say, hey, I'm not feeling the best today, or, whatever we want to help out in the most capacity that we can.
Yeah, I think it's important to be connected with our staff and be connected between each other, and that's why I think to this day we maintain open door policy. And as you guys know, at our new building, we're not having individual offices. It's going to be open floor plan, and I think that helps to get on the same page. And I think it's crucially important at the rate of the growth that we have seen, it's crucially important that we all remain on the same page and remain in sync with our staff, because they're part of their growth, and they're the ones driving it.
Right.
We're just helping to navigate this.
Well, that's kind of all we wanted to talk about today. The past vision, the current vision, what we kind of see in the future. And we touched on a couple of topics here, but that barely grazes the surface. I mean, there's so many things that this company wants to do and that this company is capable of doing. But we just kind of wanted to share some of those ideas. Have two of the powerhouses that are driving this company on and speak on those topics as well. But that kind of concludes our topic for the day. We'll see you next week, and thank you for joining another episode.
Thank you, guys.